Two big things for one big game. I'm Stephen Means and that's Stefan Krajisnik. And as we do every single week, we're coming to you with the things that we're interested in talking with Ryan Day about when we talk with him on Tuesdays ahead of game week this week. I mean, you know what game it is. You know what it is. I don't need to say it. It's Ohio State, Michigan, man. It's the biggest game of the year. Ohio State with a chance to get to the Big Ten championship game, and Michigan actually with a chance to get to the Big Ten championship game and also get to the college football playoff for the first time since it's expanded to 12 games. Stefan, what you want to talk today about?
Usually a million things to what I want to talk to him about, but usually when we come on here each week and do our two big things, it's centered around a question you want to ask or something you want to hear answered. And I think for me, it's entirely vibes based. Like, I want to see how Ryan Day is answering questions, like what he's saying, his word choice. He's one of the more interesting coaches to cover because his press conferences are more often than not like very telling and very like genuine in the sense that there's not a lot of coach speak, right? Like, everything he says feels intentional. Like, a couple weeks ago, he's talking about David Adolph and a play that he had against Purdue, and we're here, and then boom, he starts against Rutgers when Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith are out, and we heard him talk about Jermaine playing some more nickel, and then early in the season Lorenzo goes down and Jermaine's playing nickel, and Devin Sanchez is getting starts at corner. Like he'll drop kind of these things progressively throughout the year that if you're listening and you're paying attention, there is there's signs, right? Like, he doesn't gloss over things. Like, I was listening to Sharon's presser from Monday. There was a lot of just nothingness kind of said. Like, it is, and that Sharon is in the majority, where coach speak is what you get on these pressers, especially going into a big game. Ryan Day hasn't typically been that. So I'm very interested to see kind of what he says, the way he goes about answering questions. His first, I guess, technical media availability of the week is already passed. It was 10 TV had their Game Time with Ryan Day on Monday drop. You can find that on YouTube. And he was talking with Dom Taveri about, the game and everything. And he was very like loose. Like, he had talked about, all the different things that go into winning this game, how physical the game is, but he didn't say the line about the team that wins the rushing battle wins the game more often than not. So, like, that's out of the vocabulary, which I'm sure is a good thing for Ohio State fans. Dom had asked him a question about how Archie Griffin had said once that it's nice to not have a game after the game because of how physical it is, how beat up you feel. But that's obviously not the case this year. And Day had said something like, there better be a game the week after this one. And he's like, and there will be after we win it. So it was just like one of those things where I was like, whoa, okay. Like, confidence, calm. He was smiling, like kind of a loose like version of Ryan Day on the Monday of the biggest week, which is kind of surprising. I'm sure internally it's like a ball of fire in his stomach that just will not go away until that game ends. But externally, the way they're approaching this game, the way that he talked about it with Dom, and I'm sure, on Tuesday when he talks to us, there's a different vibe around Ryan Day. I think a big gold trophy really helps you feel better about everything in life going through the next season. But I'm curious to see kind of how those vibes carry over on Tuesday, because you've covered Ryan Day much longer than me, but I've covered Ryan Day now for 2 seasons. You can usually tell what his mood is like, he doesn't hide it well. Like, his emotions are on his sleeve, and he, he's not afraid to acknowledge the obvious things. So let's see what it looks like on Tuesdays. Not a question I'm looking to hear answered, although, updates on Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith would be very nice. But just the way he answers, he's going to be asked, how important is it to end the losing streak? He's going to be asked about, how difficult it was losing last year. Like, all those things are going to get asked. The manner in which he answers them, I'm very curious. And I probably, after we're done recording here at some point on Monday night, so as you're listening, it's already Tuesday. At this point, I've probably rewatched last year's pre-Michigan press conference to get a sense of like what he was like then. And I'm interested to see what he's like today as you're listening to this.
Yeah, I've been going back and listening to Day pressers about Michigan since he took the job over. And because I'm trying to get a sense of what has happened the last couple of years. Maybe should we have seen this coming? Not necessarily losing, but just the way he's approached the game. Right, this is from 2019 after they lost the game. Ever since I took the job, it's been on my mind. After they won the game in 2019. Ever since I took the job, it's been on my mind. I know what this game means to the people of Ohio, to Buckeye Nation, coming off the heels of one of the greatest coaches in the history of college football, who went 7-0 here, is big shoes to fill. I tried not to worry about that. Our staff tried not to worry about that. We tried to worry about right now. And anytime I started thinking about what if, I just got right back into my work and just focus on trying to put a good game plan together. And also from that presser post game after that win in 2019, to say that there's not stress coming into a game like this would be a lie. There's so much riding on the game, like on a game like this, and you understand and you feel the weight of everybody involved with it. To win like this now is a relief. He called what was a 56-27 score, I believe, game a relief. That man was stressing. And they won. And they dropped 62 the year before that. And he was stressing. And they won. So imagine how much more he's been stressing. And they've lost 4 years in a row. So I'm with you. I almost just want to see. We're going to almost psychoanalyze Ryan Day in the 2 times we get to talk to him. It's like, oh, how does he walk up to the podium? How does he enter into the team room? How does he sit down in his chair on Wednesday evening after a practice? Is he stressing? Like all of it, all these little cue things that we're going to look back on in 2 weeks and go, you guys are weird. Why were you paying attention to that? But when you're living in the moment, you're like, no, this matters. Does he take a deep breath and think about it before he answers the question? Does he get standoffish when he's answered the 4th straight question about the status of Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate? Does he just go policy, policy, policy? We don't talk about all these little things that probably aren't that big of a deal, but they're Ryan Day doesn't do anything on accident in front of a microphone. Ever. And because of that, that's why we are talking about this. Like, I don't know if I have an actual question. I just want to see how he handles every question. Because Ryan Day doesn't do anything on accident when he knows the mic is hot. With that being said, I do have 2 questions I want to ask. And I'm trying to figure out which one I'm going to ask on Tuesday and which one I'm going to try to ask on Wednesday if I get called on. The bigger thing is, and I asked him this after they lost last year directly in the post-game press conference, and I also asked him again a week and a half later when we talked to him on signing day of, can you overthink the Michigan game? And I'm still thinking about that a year later, and it's even more of a pressing thing for me because of all the changes and the kind of going out of his way to emphasize routine, keeping things the way they have been, right? I mean, what's their schedule every single week? Monday's the off day. Tuesday, we talk today at noon. The players get in there about 2:30. They have their team meeting. They get on the practice field, and they have their good on good day. And they have their Wednesday practice. And then Wednesday evening, we're in there. Thursday, they have their final practice. On Friday, they have the best Fridays in college football. And if it's a travel day, they'll travel. And if they're not, right, they check into the hotel. They leave the hotel on Saturday. They head to the state. We all know what the routine is at this point. Okay, well, the routine with Michigan week has always been like the band comes in for a practice, right? They have senior tackle, all these different things. They started changing some of this stuff last year. And Ryan Day, the first time he got asked this year about some of those changes, he alluded to the playoff schedule and how part of the reason they had so much success is they kept things as routinely as possible. That sounds good and all that, but if you hadn't lost 4 straight to Michigan, you wouldn't be switching up your routine. But I'm wondering if that's his answer to my question of, can you overthink the Michigan game? If you make it a thing, and it doesn't have to be a thing, it can be preparation. It doesn't take away from what the game is. It just allows you to do what's brought you success versus having all these things thrown at you that you haven't been doing all year, the week of the game, that keep telling you, hey, this is a big deal. Hey, this is a big deal. Hey, this is a big deal. All the distractions, all the lights, the fact that college game day and big noon kickoff keep following this game around. I think last year was the only time in the last 4 years that they haven't had big noon kickoff in college game day. at the game, and they're both going to be there this year as well. And so I think his answer to my question is yes, but it's a moving target. So I want to see how he continues that part of it. And then the other thing I want to ask, and it's just because I didn't get a chance to ask it on Saturday after the game. Julian Sand's first game in this rivalry is on the road with a lot on the line. And the last time, actually the last 3 times Ohio State has gone to Michigan for this game, it's been with a first-year starting quarterback who had a lot of similarities to what Julian Sand is. Justin Fields, 5-star quarterback. Kyle McCord, 5-star quarterback. C.J. Stroud, Southern California, highly rated quarterback. And only one of those guys has left Ann Arbor with a victory, and that was Justin Fields in 2019. Like, there's an element here to Julian that the last time he played in a game of this magnitude, Ryan Day did not want to put him in harm's way. And said after the game, in hindsight, they probably could have put more on his plate. Okay, it's 12 games later. Is Julian ready for the full encore? Full meal? Are you ready to give Julian Sand the keys to this offense? Because you weren't in week 1, understandably, but now he's got 12 games under his belt, and he potentially has a Heisman Trophy on the line. Are you ready to let Julian Sand go be Julian Sand? And more importantly, is Julian Sand ready to go be Julian Sand in the most important game he's played as an Ohio State football player?
Yeah, especially when you throw into the consideration the potential, injuries or lack thereof with Jeremiah and Carnell, right? Because even if those guys played, maybe they're not, fully at 100%, and you need Julian Sand to be on his A game, right? Because if you have to rotate those guys any more than you normally would, or if they don't play, there's a lot on Julian Sand's plate that he's got to deliver, and everything would point to him being ready for the moment. But you're always ready until you're not, right? You're always ready until it's halftime of the Michigan game, and we're sitting there thinking to ourselves, oh, maybe he's not ready for this. Maybe he's not built for this quite yet. So I tend to think that he's probably good to go, ready to go. You probably agree, but you got to do it. And I think that this is now, kind of the ultimate test for Julian. And to some degree, too, it's like this is a big test in the sense of every game from here on out is also this for Julian Sand, right? Like if he's not ready for a big game in Ann Arbor, I know it's not the rivalry, but playing against Georgia on a neutral field is not necessarily too much easier, right? Playing against, an Indiana or Texas Tech or, Texas A&M or whoever it may be, it's not necessarily that much easier, right? So this is certainly a big test for Julian Sand in the rivalry and also kind of the games that are coming down the road here. So very interested to see how he plays.
So that's what we're thinking about. Ohio State, Michigan on Saturday for all the marbles. Well, sort of. I actually think Michigan has more on the line than Ohio State does from a tangible aspect, just because if Michigan wins, they're in the playoff and they go to the Big Ten championship game. If they lose, they don't go to the Big Ten championship game and they're done with the playoff. I think Ohio State has more intangible things on the line simply because, you lost 4 straight. You'd rather this thing not get any wackier than it is with Michigan winning a 5th straight game in this rivalry. So 614-350-3315, 2-week free trial, $3.99 after that. This is the stuff we'll be talking with Ryan Day on Tuesday ahead of this game. That's Stefan. I'm Steven. See ya.